Hello, everyone. All right. We are going to be getting started here in just a couple minutes. So we'll let a few people get on here for the live broadcast. I'm just going to get set up here and just let me know that you can hear me. All right, so we are going to start today on Wednesday workshop here and talk about the self-care, which is actually very, very important. So one of the things I want to focus on is really just the basics of taking care of you so that you can be the best person that you can be for the people around you. And so there's a few things I'm going to highlight and a couple reasons why. Self-care is so important for the many reasons that we just talked about. To be successful in life, the most successful people become comfortable with the uncomfortableness of life. And a lot of the best of us comes out when we're feeling healthy. When we're unhealthy, when we're not taking care of ourselves, then people don't get the best of us. So I want to break it down and talk about what is it that you can do to take care of yourself so that you can be more of a servant leader, so you can be there for other people. And so let's break it down into a couple different areas. First of all, we want to create some awareness. So awareness of whether or not you are having stress. And if you're having stress, where is it coming from? There's three types of stress we're going to be talking about. Mental, chemical, and physical stress. All three can cause wear and tear on the body that can really start to affect you in your overall performance and how you show up in life. And we're not just talking about performance for business, we're talking about performance with relationships, we're talking about performance with your workouts, performance physically. So we want to focus on whether or not you can identify mental, chemical, or physical stressors. So let's break it down first. So physically, when you're talking about self-care, it's important every single day to have a set goal or set, a barometer as far as what you're going to do that day. And it's important to make sure you build in breaks. If you don't build in breaks, then you will fatigue yourself very, very quickly. So when it comes to USANA Health Sciences and making sure that you are getting those breaks in, having a calendar is very, very important. So just like my office here, I'm in my office this morning and I'm seeing patients, but I'm on a break. I'm doing this live video to basically bring some information there, but I build in those breaks in my day. When you're dealing with a home business, it's very, very appealing sometimes to have your phone by you all the time. But I'm going to just really urge you to have hours of operation. There are certain hours where I will see patients here in my clinic, and then there's certain hours I just won't, because I need those hours to bring balance to my life, so I'm better serving them when I am open for hours. I encourage you to do the same thing for your business so that you can schedule yourself time to take care of yourself. And when you're dealing with yourself or your family or your business, make sure that it is quality time, meaning your focus is 100% on the task at hand. So when it comes to self-care, build your calendar so that you have hours of operation. And then once you have that, make sure it's 100% focusing on you for your self-care. So then we're going to talk through some different concepts here as far as self-care and what you can do. So let's start with physical, some of the easier ones. Going to the gym and having workouts. Now that can be good for some people, not good for other people. So it's really important to know who you are. If you go to the gym and you lift the weights and you feel better afterwards, then that's something you can use to help keep you going and help you feel relaxed at the same time. Some people may need to go for walks. Some people, it's a massage. Other people, it's a nap. Now that does fall into the physical category, doing nothing, napping. And so I cannot tell you how important sleep is for self-preservation. for self-care. So if you don't sleep well at night and you need a nap, that's one thing. So making sure you get really good sleep at nighttime is a part of this whole conversation. But if you do need naps, take them. Build them into your day. You'll be surprised how efficient that makes you when you actually get a nap in there when you need it, especially. I'm going to talk about the chemical side of this triad of health as well when it comes to self-care. In USANA, you'll hear on this line and many others, they talk about knowing your numbers. Well, this is very true for self-care as well. When it comes to knowing your numbers, we want to make sure you know that your blood chemistry and your chemistry is doing well. So I encourage everyone, all the people that are part of USANA, USANA Health Sciences is about health. It's about lifestyle. We're all about helping people with their lifestyle. So it's important that we become those walking billboards for people. Now, you don't need to be there at the end. You don't need to be perfect. In fact, it's really not good if you're perfect, because we want to show people that there's a process here, that there is basically a starting point. Everyone is at a different starting point, and it's okay. Some people will be further along in some areas and not so far along in others. When it comes to the chemistry of your body, we need to make sure that our blood sugar is regulated. We need to make sure that we don't have anemia or low oxygen, because then we start to feel deflated. We need to make sure that our thyroid is working well. So it's important for you to not dismiss what's going on with your health. If you have awareness that you're feeling a little deflated, it's important to start working on it, and also seek help to bring that back into balance. Getting your blood chemistry looked at is a good way to understand what might be off, to give you more support. One of the other things I want to just mention is the 23andMe is a great little test for people to just get a baseline overview of their genetics and what they might be working with. It's important to invest in yourself in this process. So as you are advising people about health, as you're helping them with their lifestyle, make sure you're also addressing your own and listening to your own words. Now, it's kind of funny. You might notice this as you sit down and talk with people, giving them guidance and giving them counsel. You may sit back and reflect and say, you know what? Those are good words for me. Don't dismiss that. There's a lot of good stuff that will come out of your mouth that you also would be well advised to listen to. So I want you to know that your inner physician a lot of times is pretty accurately describing what your needs are as well. And so I hope many of you pay attention to your own words, but then apply it yourself. Now, let's jump into the mental side of self-care. The mental side is very, very important, and this is the one that can deflate you very, very quickly. With USANA, they'll talk a lot about the being okay with getting a no, and they'll talk about building our belief system. And one of the things I see, not just in the business of USANA, but in my patient base as a whole, self-condemnation and what we think of ourselves is very, very important when it comes to how much self-care we need. So people who are hard on themselves, people who are constantly saying that signal back in their brain that, oh, I failed, or I let them down, or they're worrying, they're the ones setting up a lot of problems in their own chemistry. So let me walk you through this for a second. Many of you have heard me say that my definition of worrying is a misuse of your imagination. What that means is when we worry, we're using our creative brain to start to think about what might happen. It hasn't happened yet, but it might happen. When you do that, that worrying actually causes a negative consequence with our physiology. We actually produce free radicals, which means we need more USANA antioxidants, and we need to clean up and detoxify, and it offsets our hormones. We'll start to see an increase in cortisol, a decrease in thyroid. And so worrying really is something that we have to catch ourselves if we're doing that. And when you are in business for yourself, it's easy to get caught in that trap of worry. So one of the keys to worrying is to find a healthy offset for that. So there are a lot of other unhealthy offsets. Some people will go to alcohol. Some people will go to medications, anti-anxiety, anti-drugs. When you exercise and work out, that will minimize your worrying. When you practice meditation or surrendering or prayer, that also can decrease your worrying. Funny enough, one of the other things that helps is puzzles. So if you are using your left brain working on puzzles, whether it be word puzzles or math puzzles, just doing those puzzles can stop you from worrying. And also if you're using other creative things for the right brain, like art, drawing, that can actually inhibit the ability to worry even more, because you can't do both at the same time. So for me, it's important to find out what is that thing you enjoy doing, and build some time into it. You have to bring joy into your daily routine at some point. You have to bring joy into your weekly routine. Now, a lot of us will enjoy what we're doing with USANA. We enjoy it when we get good feedback, but the truth is the monotony of the day-to-day in any business requires you to build in some offsets, because when you're constantly working and constantly thinking, you need that break. So that joy is something that will fuel you. And so if you like to draw, if you like to sing, if you like to do math puzzles, if you like to go exercise or play sports, it's important to build that into your day, and it's a huge component to self-care. Because many times when you do that consistently, you will start to get the positive healing chemistry flowing in your body. And then all of a sudden, your endurance increases. All of a sudden, your ability to focus and concentrate improves. And you're able to get more done in a day than you were doing when you didn't have these other joyful things as part of your daily routine. So I really encourage you to look at what brings you joy. Now, many people actually can't remember what brings them joy, or they don't have anything that brings them joy, and that's part of the awareness conversation. So first of all, just take a look and see if you can identify something that brings you joy, and is it healthy? Is it something that you feel will build you up, and can I implement this and put this into a daily routine? I have people who have apps, and they will get scripture sent to them, or positive affirmations sent to them, or music sent to them at certain times to help lift them up. There are also other things that we can do. I personally love to read, and so I will schedule some time to read. Either in the morning I like to read my Bible, in the afternoon and evening. In the afternoon I like to read research, and we're talking 20 minutes here. We're not talking a lot. So something to do with health. I'm currently reading a book on Alzheimer's and Alzheimer's prevention. And then in the evening, I like to read with my wife, and we read a book together. And we're only talking 20, 30 minutes. But just doing that one habit throughout the day is a huge part of my self-care. It really, it motivates me, it relaxes me, and it's only 20 minutes, and it helps with the rejuvenation process. So the other part of it is, I want to say it in a way that makes sense as well. When we're talking about mental stability, when we're talking about having the best us up here, I want to say it like when we talk about exercising. When someone is exercising a muscle and they're building a muscle, pretend. Wait, I'm gonna get to the camera here. See that? Pretend that's a big muscle, right? Jordan's got nothing on me. There it is, right there. And then as you have this muscle and you're exercising it, you're going to build it up and you're going to tear it down. Now, when you're exercising, you're pushing the limits of the muscle, it actually tears it down. And then your own immune system comes in and builds it back up. So that's the recovery part of it. When you're at national convention, you're going to hear all these athletes come out on stage and they're going to talk about how great USANA is, because of their ability to recover quicker, their ability to recover from their intense workouts. Well, mentally, we need that same thing. So as we're thinking throughout the day, that's like exercising that muscle. And then you need some time to recover. The better you get at recovering, the bigger the muscle gets, the stronger it gets. The same thing is true mentally. So recovery is key. So your brain needs a break. It needs time to recover. Now, by far, the best way we recover is deep sleep. So I want to just hopefully build some awareness here. Deep sleep, there are many stages to sleep, but many people don't realize that they're not getting into deep sleep. Currently, we have over 100 different sleep disorders that are diagnosable. Most people, when I ask them, can get to 5, maybe 6. Deep sleep is something that restores us each and every night. So, when we go to sleep, there's a point when your brain actually shuts your entire body down. You actually go paralyzed. Your muscles don't move. Your airway is meant to be maintained, and so the airway itself, if it's not strong, if your tension is higher in the back of the neck, that'll actually shut down your airway muscles. Or if we're overweight, that can clog the airway as well. It can actually compress so the airway opening is not as big. When we get a lack of oxygen coming to the brain because our airway is weak or our airway is small, then we end up not getting into deep sleep because the lack of oxygen, the brain will send a signal to our adrenal glands or our stress gland, and it sends adrenaline or cortisol, and it'll wake us up out of that level of sleep. Some people will physically wake up all the way, but other people will just be woken into a more shallow sleep state. And so deep sleep is really important because if you're sleeping properly and you get to that deep sleep stage, what happens is the brain sends a signal to support your digestive dysfunction or support your immune system dysfunction, and it'll go and clean up the mess from the day. So if you wake up in the morning and your joints are kind of achy, stiff, and sore, that's a sign that either you're a little toxic from not eating well the day before or you're not sleeping deeply. Here's some other signs that you may not be sleeping deeply. Number 1, you don't remember your dreams. Now, you not necessarily need to remember your dreams every night. It's okay if you remember that you did dream, but you should be dreaming each and every night, multiple times. If you're not dreaming, not remembering your dreams, then you're not getting into the deepest state of sleep possible. If you can take a nap 3 hours after you get up, or 3 to 4 hours after getting up, then you're also not getting into deep sleep. So really important to assess, am I getting good quality sleep? The hours doesn't really matter if you're not getting into deep sleep. You could sleep for 14 hours. If you don't feel rested in the morning, that's another sign that there's an imbalance. So it's really important to assess, am I getting deep sleep? If you are matching that criteria, you feel rested in the morning, you remember your dreams, and you don't need to take a nap 3 to 4 hours after waking up, chances are your sleep is pretty decent. So the fast way to take care of yourself is the sleep. That is by far the most important, and that's going to help with the recovery. So really take a look at how well you feel you are recovering. The other thing I want to mention here is when it comes to the actual self-belief, self-perception, it's pretty important to just ask yourself a couple questions. Do I like myself? Do I love myself? Am I proud of myself? If you can answer yes to all 3 of those areas, then, and it's accurate, you're doing a good job with taking care of yourself mentally. So many times, people will take a look at their day and they'll reflect on what they didn't get done. And that just doesn't work. It's like looking in the mirror and picking yourself apart. There's a lot of negativity there. So I don't want you to focus on your failures. In fact, we're going to ask you to fail forward. We want you to really look at, okay, how am I doing when it comes to my day? Now, we want you to pay attention to what's not working, where you can improve, but I don't want you to attach any emotion to it. I really don't. I want you to assess it and course correct. Now, if you're not very good at that, then I want someone else who is good at it to help you out. It's okay to ask for help. And that leads us to our next part of self-care. If you look at your schedule and you can't build in self-care, you are overbooked. And so we need to have you do one of 2 things. Either get better and more efficient at what you're doing, or delegate. So I want you to look at what can you delegate and what can you not delegate. Prioritize. Making a priority list is very, very important. And if it doesn't get to that day, as far as you can't get it to that day, then that's just the way it is. And I will tell you this, I have a pretty busy schedule. For those of you that know me, they know that my wife and I have 10 children, 11 grandchildren, 10,000 patients. I run a full clinic with a staff of 14 and have 2 other jobs. So there's always something to do. There's always something to work on and work with. And many times I have my phone completely shut off because it's the only way for me to be 100% with my wife or 100% with my family. And it's important for me to have that, because if I didn't have that quality focused time, then those relationships would suffer. So it's important to bring that balance in and to prioritize what is needed in a day. And so taking a look at where you're at and helping via delegation is crucial. And asking for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Only ego and pride can get in the way, and what we're looking for here at USANA Health Science is the ego, excellence without ego. And so that's very, very important to the overall well-being of your team, of your business, and yourself. When you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself, it's important to realize that if you go down, if you've not built a successful business yet and you're just brand new to us, then nothing's going to build and nothing's going to happen there. So it's crucial that you take care of yourself. We have one body and your job is to take care of it, mentally, chemically, and physically. And so again, I want to just reiterate when it comes to the actual surrendering of what's going on in a day, the failing forward is a very, very important part of it. When it comes to self-care, just first having the awareness of what is stressful to you, what is not. Secondly, actually creating the space to do things that actually help you feel more relaxed and more balanced. And so you play with it a little bit, because in the beginning you might realize that I need more time over here calling, and then all of a sudden you might realize that you need more time with follow-up, and sometimes you need more time with your family, because that will rejuvenate you to do more. When it comes to the chemistry, I really want to focus and hit this one hard. When you eat poorly, you perform poorly. Our food is our fuel. Our food helps build our reserves. And so if you're eating inflammatory food, you will become inflammatory. When your brain is inflammatory, overall function decreases. When your body is inflammatory, overall pain and achiness increases. So it's very important to pay attention to what is working for you and what's not working for you. Some of the most inflammatory foods we know are sugar, alcohol, and coffee. And the American way, we know, is drink coffee in the morning with sugar and a glass of wine at night to go back to sleep. And that just doesn't cut it, not for long. It's okay in the beginning, but it doesn't work long term, right? So again, when it comes to taking care of yourself, I want to just really have people have awareness without judgment. I want to enter the conversation being as organized as possible, delegate, and there's a magic word I want to share with you, because this one word will help you more than anything else. And so there are different ways you can practice saying it, but I want you guys to know this is the word. No. And for people from Canada, it's more like this. No, thank you. And so what that means is it's okay to say no. And then you can frame it with what works for you. I will have many, many requests to speak to other people's chiropractors, and many times I will say, no, sorry, I don't have the time. And I can thank Paige Hunter for some of that guidance there. We sat down one day and I said, what do you do when you have 2,000 emails and don't have enough time to answer them? And so she gave me some nice direction on that. So thank you, Paige, for that. And I also, that's a good point. All of our leaders, we reach out to other leaders and we need help. So know that you are not alone, whether you're brand new to USANA or to business, or you've been in it for 20, 25 years. Sometimes that's even worse, when you've been in it for 20 years and you think, well, I I've been here long enough, I should know how to do this. Well, the reality is that it can still become overwhelming. You've got a lot of work, and it's okay to delegate. It's okay to ask for help. So getting back to the one-word answer, it's okay to say no, and you have to be okay with that. People-pleasing is one of the downfalls of business. You can't please everyone. Now, you can work really hard. When I first started as a chiropractor, I didn't promise that I would make them better. I promised that they'd never find someone that would work harder for them. But in that journey, I've had to refer them, which is part of the process. And I've had to say when they weren't following my directions, I can't help you until you stay on track. And then I've had to say no to certain people because it just doesn't fit with my calendar. It doesn't fit with my purpose or my vision as far as what I want. So saying no is okay, and for those of you that really are people pleasers and you don't want to let your friends down because you've started them on a reset and now they're doing these other programs, if the timing's not right, you can say, no, that timing doesn't work, can we try this? And then come to a scenario where it's actually more beneficial for all of you. So the word no is one of the best things you can do for self-care, and it sounds really, really unusual, but you have to say no to something. You really do. When you say yes to everything, there will be consequences to that are not good for your health. And we want you to be the best you possible so that you can then help as many people moving forward and really be impactful. So if you want a servant leadership life of impact, you have to get good at using discernment of when to say no, and then also work on the problem solving so that you can get it fit into the right schedule that works for you. So there's a lot more that we can talk about when it comes to this, but we're going to be winding up here. I want you guys to all lead by example, and that means just be you. Be authentically you. If you're struggling, then you reach out to your team and you let them know you're struggling and help problem solve together. And when you're working with clients, you relate to them, you meet them at where they're at, and you help them through the process. The majority of what we deal with here is helping people through their struggles, getting them over the daily grind and the humps that come with life. So just help yourself do the same thing, and then the answers to help other people will come very quickly, and they will love you for it. And remember, people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. So I want you guys to take care of yourself. I want you to get to the point of knowing yourself, liking yourself, and trusting yourself. So I hope there's some value here today. Thanks everyone for coming on, and I look forward to hearing other people talking and discussing, and I want to thank you for your time today. Take care everyone. Work hard, work smart. Love you guys.